Hey friends, Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Hope that you're doing well. Are you getting sick of all those elixir flankers, all those absolute flankers that have been coming out here lately? All those absolute elixir flankers? I mean, Jean-Paul Gaultier put one out, so I mean, there's legitimately at least one absolute elixir. But yeah, are you getting tired of those? Getting sick of it? Well, don't you worry, because Valentino has you covered. They've got this Extradose. That's right, no absolute, no elixir, no parfum even, no abselixir, that's what they should call it from now on. Extradose. I swear to you, part of me, like the chaotic part of me, actually wants more brands to come out with Extradose just because I want to see the world burn. I can only imagine how many people would be triggered over that. There's already a lot of people triggered about elixirs. If everything started being Extradose, whoo boy. But yes, Valentino has come out with Valentino Uomo Born in Roma Extradose, which is what we're going to be talking about here today. And also, because I love you guys, I bought a second bottle, which I'm going to be giving away to one of you. It's still sealed, ready to go, but I haven't actually got it yet because I ordered it from Europe before it became available in the US, and it's supposed to be here tomorrow. But when it comes, I'm going to set it aside, give it to one of you. But we'll talk about that later. For now, let's go ahead and take a look at this presentation and we can start talking about that Extradose. Here we got the box. You have the name of the fragrance, name of the house size, and concentration right there on the front. Mine is a 50 ml. Parfum is the concentration. On one side, you have a QR code. On the back, you have your ingredient information as well as your barcode. And on the bottom, your batch code. Mine is 38YND1C. And here we have the bottle. Looks very, very reminiscent to just straight up Valentino Uomo Born in Roma. The color scheme is practically the same. Basically just where it says Valentino is a slightly deeper shade of pink. Here they are side by side. Now this is an original version of Born in Roma, which is why it has this little pull tab, but nowadays it would come with this style cap. And you can see, pretty similar. On the bottom, you have a sticker, which has your badge code. The cap does click into place. Let's go ahead and share a couple sprays. Handy dandy tester strip. Here we go. Huh. So retail pricing for this one in the US is $125 for the 50 ml size bottle, $165 if you go for the 100 ml size bottle. Now that is more expensive than Born in Roma Intense, which cost $140 for a 100 ml and $110 for 50, which is more expensive than the normal Born in Roma, which is $97 for a 50 ml and only $125 for a 100. So as you can see, Valentino Uomo Born in Roma is just creeping up ever so slightly with each one of these more dosed releases. So I can only assume that we're going to get Valentino Uomo Born in Roma Elixir Absolute Overdose Extreme Parfum, which is going to be like $300. But don't worry, that's a lot of flankers down the road. So that's probably gonna be, I don't know, 3 years from now. That was a crappy joke. That's not actually gonna come out, probably. Now, unfortunately, I don't have any codes for Valentino or Macy's or anything like that to save you some money, but this will eventually pop up at discounters, and when it does, you can use one of these codes to save money. The JOMASHOP codes only work within the app, so be aware of that. And then there is Max Aroma, Fragflex, the Perfume Box, Triple Traders, and more that you can save money with those codes. All right, back to Valentino Uomo Born in Roma Extradose. This one has a dumbed down, stupefied note breakdown. Yippee, 3 notes. You know the drill by this point. And those notes are lavender, spices, and vetiver. There you go. But just because the note breakdown is dumbed down doesn't mean that it's a terrible fragrance. How does this one come across? Is it similar to other fragrances in the Born in Roma lineup? What's the deal? Well, when you first spray this fragrance on, you get a really nice, sweet, warm, spicy blend. Very appealing, a little bit playful. The lavender, or technically lavandin, you can pick up pretty much right away as well. It has this almost syrupy, rich sweetness, the way that the spices hit when you first spray the fragrance on. I will say, it is a little similar in a number of ways to this one, which I showed just 2 seconds ago, Born in Roma Intense. And a big part of that similarity is going to be the way that the lavender comes across, because that's one of the more prominent notes in each one of these scents here. And I would say if you're looking for the one that's most similar or closest to Extradose from the current lineup, the current Born in Roma lineup, that Intense is probably the one that's gonna be most similar to the new one. But there are differences as well. With Intense, it leans more toward that vanilla. So even though you get a similar lavender scent profile coming through, at least somewhat similar, you have more of that vanilla sweetness coming across here in Intense, and in Extradose, you have more of that warm spiciness. And part of the way the spiciness comes across here in Extradose is almost like slightly licoricey, like it has a licorice aspect to it, kind of like nutmeg as well. And that's kind of how the spiciness hits for me. It's not like, you know, a super sweet cinnamon or something like that. It's a little bit more grounded, less overly sticky sweet, you know, like the more typical cardamom cinnamon combo. It's not that. So while it does have a bit of sweetness, to me, it leans more toward that like nutmeg licorice style of warm spiciness. As they start to dry down, again, similarities from the lavender, but they do hit differently. Again, more sweetness here in Intense. Extradose, ever so slightly more mature compared to Intense. There's also a little bit of an aromatic edge to Extradose that you pick up early on, lingers through the mid into the dry down, and it becomes more of a woody scent as you hit that far dry down. So vetiver, the official note here in the base, and it is definitely a more pronounced vetiver in Extradose than in Born in Roma Intense. Born in Roma Intense is more of that sweet, you know, kind of nondescript woodiness. It doesn't really hit that hard as a woody note in the dry down. Born in Roma Intense smells absolutely fantastic. Great, 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 great release. It's just more centered around that vanilla, with the lavender being more of like this creamy, sweet lavender. And then the woodiness, again, a little bit more on like that sweeter side of things in Born in Roma Intense. This one comes across much more clearly defined as vetiver. So you get more of that woodsy aspect, a little bit more of a dryness to it when you hit that far dry down. So while it does have similarities to Born in Roma Intense, there are definitely enough different things going on here that it's not really redundant. I'd also say that to me, Extradose, while having a decent amount of sweetness, is not quite as sweet as like Born in Roma Intense or even Born in Roma Coral Fantasy. Those two have a little more sweetness to them overall, which may actually work better for you. Especially younger guys usually like those fragrances with a bit more sweetness. So if you're looking for something that has like more of that sugary aspect to it, those two have a little bit more, I'd say. This one is solid with the sweetness, very nice, but it's also balanced out a little bit more with the lavender, with that little aromatic touch, with more of the woodsy aspect as it dries down, and then also the warm spices as well. So how much you like this one in comparison to some of the other Born in Roma fragrances is really gonna be dependent on what you like, what you're looking for, what style of fragrance you're after. If you're after just straight up compliments, like that's all you care about, you wanna be noticed, then I'd say these two probably gonna be your best bet. So that's Coral Fantasy and Born in Roma Intense. Not that this is not a potential compliment pulling fragrance, it is, that's obviously what it's made for, but it is to me a little bit more reined in as far as that outward sweetness that it has from opening into the dry down. Like I've said a few times, it's got that, it has some sweetness, just not like these. The original Born in Roma, probably gonna be a little bit better suited for somebody looking for something like a year-round fragrance. Has a nice minerality to it, a little bit similar to Invictus in some ways. Extradose, I would say, is gonna be for somebody looking for something fall, winter, early spring, who wants something that's kind of like walking that path between giving you something sweet, but then also a little aromatic, a little woody, kind of giving you a little bit of each without going full bore into either. And as you would expect with the name Extradose, it does last quite a long time. It does project really well. So no qualms there. You're not gonna have this and be like, oh, I can't smell it, unless you go nose blind, and then I guess you're not smelling it, but it's still there. The only real potential drawbacks for this fragrance, for me personally, are that it's a little bit more expensive. So, you know, it's kind of like watching that trend, watching the graph, and it just kind of keeps doing this. Because by and large, Valentino, not that expensive at full retail compared to a lot of its contemporaries, but the fragrances have been really good quality. You go back to like Valentino Uomo Intense, the original one, that stuff for the price at full retail versus other things nowadays, insane. So that's not great that the price is creeping up. You could say, yeah, but it's extra dose. That means more doses. That means more money. But yeah, that's not great. You don't love to see that. Although to be fair, it does perform really well, so at least you get that. And then the other side of the coin would be, it's not super unique in its own lineup. Now, like I said, it's not the exact same as Born in Roma Intense. There are differences there, but where they both play off of lavender, and at the end of the day do have kind of a woody dry down, approached in different ways, but still, you could make the argument, this is kind of, you know, something I would use the same time as that one, so why put it out? And that would be completely valid for some of you out there who are gonna smell this one and think to yourself, do I really need it? You know, I'd wear it the same time as Born in Roma Intense. Maybe that extra sweetness, Born in Roma Intense, is more appealing to me, and Born in Roma Intense is cheaper, and that's completely valid. That's legit. All that being said, do I like the way it smells? I do. I think this stuff smells fantastic, really versatile, easy to use, daytime or nighttime. And maybe if I don't want something, you know, quite so sweet as this or this, then this would work great. And I do love the little bit of vetiver that comes out as it dries down, which is a note that I really dig. So to be able to smell it in the dry down and actually go, oh, this time it actually smells a little bit like vetiver is a positive. Because a lot of times with these fragrances, it'll say vetiver in the note breakdown and you're like, where? Now, I'm not saying it's super strong, but at least you can pick it up and identify it as vetiver in here. Baby steps. So Extra Dose to me smells great, and it's better in the air, just like Born in Roma Intense. Especially through the mid in the air as you're going through your day, you catch a little more of that sweet lavender. It smells awesome. So those are my first impressions on Extra Dose. Really, really, really solid. Do I like it more than Born in Roma Intense? I don't think so. I'd also say Coral Fantasy I like a little bit more than this one. But to my own taste, I would take this one over Green Stravaganza. I would take it over the original. And Yellow Dream, probably take this one over that. But that would be dependent on like where I'm going, what I'm doing, because sometimes that one would work a little bit better than this one. All right, so those are my first impressions. Let's go ahead and do the giveaway. Like I said, it's supposed to get here tomorrow from the UK. Shout out to everybody in the UK. All you have to do to be entered in the giveaway, like the video, be subscribed to the channel, leave me a comment. Just let me know what your favorite Born in Roma is. That's all you gotta do. Don't care which one it is, whichever one you like. Give me at least a couple of weeks and I will pick a winner with random comment picker. I will put it on the community tab of the YouTube channel, so if you're subscribed, you should see that. And if you're the winner, just hit me up and I will ship it out to you. It won't be this one, it's gonna be still sealed and everything. All right, guys, that'll do it for me. Thank you for hanging with me. Stay safe out there, take care of yourselves. See you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.